Welcome to Equal Entertainment. I'm Tracy E. Gilchrist. The Queen of Rock and Roll has died. From London to Switzerland to her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, fans are remembering Tina Turner, her unforgettable voice, performances, and legacy. The Advocate Channel's Stephanie Elam is in Hollywood with more.
Here in Hollywood, people have been bringing flowers, stopping by, listening to some of Tina Turner's greatest hits. She had so many of them, and people are here playing them, singing along, and remembering this woman who has brought us decades of entertainment, decades of music, performing, and just thinking about all that she overcame, getting out of that abusive relationship with Ike Turner, only with a few cents in her pocket when she did that, and saying that she didn't want anything from him when she was divorcing him. All she wanted was her name, and that is exactly what she took along with it.
Visit theadvocatechannel.com for more reactions and a glimpse into Turner's legacy. Broadway ticket sales have bounced back to pre-pandemic levels. This is Broadway's first full season since the COVID-19 pandemic shut down performances in March of 2020. The Broadway League says nearly 12.3 million people attended performances, bringing in about $1.6 billion. The season included 40 new productions and 35 continuing productions. She's been called the Queen of Broadway. Idina Menzel is considered one of the all-time greats in musical theater. She made her Broadway debut in Rent as Maureen, and she won a Tony for her performance as Elphaba in Wicked. She's also made a transition to TV and film, and she's a staunch ally of the LGBTQ+ community. I had the pleasure of speaking to Idina about performing at We Hope Pride in West Hollywood. I kind of want to go back in time a little bit and ask you if you can recall for me your first experience at a Pride celebration.
Gosh, it's funny when you say that. I don't, I think of every opening night, every rehearsal with my friends is a Pride celebration,
I love that.
So it's not necessarily one of those events, which have all been great, that I've been to, but it's more when we are putting on a show, honestly, and we are doing what we love to do, and everyone's comfortable with one another and supporting one another, and people are really getting to shine. What I love so much about my friends in the LGBTQ plus community is that they're always willing to try to stay above and be optimistic and find the light in everything that they do, which I think is just so difficult. And so they need their allies more than ever.
Would you talk a little bit about what you're looking forward to most by being with these crowds of queer people?
During these shows, I really just want to say thank you. I think I want to express my gratitude to this community, because I feel like I wouldn't be who I am today without them. My audiences throughout the years, we've grown up together even. Some of my fans from back in the Rent days are parents now of kids that have Elsa dolls, but there's a common theme about these characters who all sort of really harness their power, and they struggled with it at first, and then once they really embraced it, it was, like a force to be reckoned with. And, but I don't really think I would have felt that kind of support or the love that I felt when I was on stage if it wasn't for the LGBTQ plus community and all of my friends, whether they're on stage with me as performers or in the audience.
Out Loud is the flagship music festival and concert experience for We Hope Pride weekend. This year, it's returning to West Hollywood Park with a star-studded, high-energy lineup celebrating and advocating for queer voices in music. You can catch Idina Menzel, Grace Jones, Orville Peck, Carly Rae Jepsen, and 30 more LGBTQ plus artists at the Out Loud concert presented by We Hope Pride, June 2nd through the 4th. Our parent company, Equal Pride, is a proud sponsor of West Hollywood's We Hope Pride. The Little Mermaid may be one of the most highly anticipated movies of the year. The story of a mermaid princess who wants to walk among humans and fall in love is iconic. And it's the music that has endured for generations. One of those songs is A Part of Your World. Out.com director Rafi Ermac caught up with the director, Rob Marshall, and producer John DeLuca about the queer roots in the music.
Part of Your World is like one of the like queer anthem that so many gay people can relate to over the years.
100%, 100%.
Can you talk about getting to work with, well, expand his legacy, but then also work with like Lin-Manuel Miranda to create like a new legacy with the music.
Yes, we all felt Howard's presence as we were working on this film, especially because it meant so much to Alan. He was the driving force behind this piece. And as an outsider himself, we all understand. I mean, I don't know anybody who's doesn't feel like an outsider. And, his legacy was very important to us. And I know that Lin-Manuel, who's a very close friend of ours, wanted to honor his work, but also take it and sort of expand upon what was there to make this a fully realized piece. But I will say, the bones of it are like when you talk about Part of Your World, it really is Somewhere Over the Rainbow. It's the classic I Want song. And we wanted to, bring that to life in a way, and with Hallie as an example, we wanted to find the depth of what that song means and the feeling behind it. And I remember when Hallie first sang for us, when she auditioned for us, boy, we were knocked out because it was so deeply connected. So the feeling was so powerful, and
she also possessed this girlish innocence, and yet she had this powerful strength.
Yes.
Which is very hard to get.
A crazy
and
combination.
It's subtle too,
yeah.
As she's dreaming of this world,
yes.
being innocent, but then I'm going to go get it.
Yes, it's the motor
Deep.
of it's the motor of the piece.
Little Mermaid swims into theaters May 26th. Another reboot is entering its third season. iCarly characters are growing into adulthood. I caught up with the cast to discuss the queer visibility and the sense of chosen family on screen. On iCarly, you are a queer person playing a queer person on television, and it's authentic, and Harper is funny. And what does it mean to you to be able to put that portrayal out in the world?
I think it's important that our entertainment reflect our reality, because what's played back to us becomes our reality. You know what I mean? That's how you normalize things. That's how you introduce people to all types of people that maybe they wouldn't run into in their small town or wherever. You get a sense of the world. So I think that it's really wonderful that people who originally watched iCarly can watch this reboot and see themselves represented.
Yeah, I think it's terrific. And thank you. And then Jaden, I wanted to go to you, and I love this, relationship that Millicent has with Freddie and the rest of the gang. And would you please talk about what it means to you to play this character who is fun and funny, but is also kind of modeling, what it means to be in a so-called non-traditional family for maybe kids who need to see that?
Yeah, it's very important to me that I definitely do represent that, because I had a friend that went through those struggles as well, and she had no one on the TV screen that was like her, going through the same things as her. And I felt really bad because, you want to be able to feel comfort when you go on the TV screen. So me portraying Millicent and, making sure to represent that means a lot to me.
Yeah, great. Thank you. And Nathan, kind of the same question, but coming from Freddie's perspective and kind of being a part of this family that Freddie is creating, and with Millicent and his friends, so kind of like a wider chosen family. Would you speak to that aspect of your character?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's actually something that's going to progress really significantly in this season, especially in relation to how Carly and Freddie try to tackle what happened at the end of the second season. And that has ramifications toward Millicent. It has ramifications towards Millicent's mom. As you start picking apart that relationship, you start realizing all of the things that would change if the relationship dynamic in this chosen family were to change. So there's at least one whole episode dedicated to that I think is really important, and actually has some really great moments of what a blended family can look like, and the benefit of open communication and honesty and trust, and obviously try to do it as funny as possible because it's still a comedy,
Right.
but not shying away from that. I think that that's something that's really important, and spanning every aspect of the show. And it's something that I'm really glad that we're able to do in the environment that we have here on a more adult, grown-up, mature version of the show, where that's something that we can really kind of dig into.
Thank you so much to the iCarly cast for joining me. Season 3 begins streaming June 1st on Paramount+. I'm Tracy E. Gilchrist, and that's what's happening in entertainment.